Or welcome to Michelle DeSaint, who's doing
Michelle,
thank you for joining us.
oh, you're very welcome.
Did I pronounce your last name right?
Michelle DeSaint is
DeSaint.
how I go by. Yeah.
Michelle DeSaint.
Yeah.
Great. And Michelle, I got in contact with you because of the line of work that you used to be in. Can you tell us what that is?
I was a professional dominatrix, meesteres in Nederlands, for 3 years. So basically what I would tell people is, yeah, I beat people up for a living. It's a really huge simplification. But yeah, it's about this play. And we'll talk about that, right?
Yeah, and I'm wondering how accurate is, I know it's an oversimplification, but how accurate is the phrase, I beat people up for a living, in your line of work?
It was pretty accurate, actually. I had quite a few clients who would come to me and say, yeah, I want you to beat the shit out of me in a variety of very specific ways.
Right.
I mean, one of the things that I got really good at, and what we'll talk about in a moment, as what I do now is I do workshops on spanking. I had quite a few clients that wanted me to spank them for an hour. Can you imagine? For an hour. And then maybe close to the end, take out something even harder to hit them with. I had clients who wanted me to kick them, abuse them, whip them. But it's consensual. It's all about choice.
Right. And how...
You're just wondering where the kicking took place.
Yeah. Consensual kicking, yeah.
Stand here, Ryan.
Yeah, all right.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got it. I think I got the visual.
But that's what I was on.
Of course it is.
Okay.
And so is this, I'm wondering, because the idea was that punishment, or the reason that we got in touch, is because punishment and pleasure, and pain and pleasure are actually quite linked. They're sort of opposite ends of a spectrum rather than completely different things. And I'm wondering, were there elements of punishment involved, or was it because you said I just beat people up? So I guess the question is, did they know, or did you guys agree why they're getting beat up, or they're like, just kick me in the nuts in high heels?
So because it's in this particular context of bondage, discipline, sadomasochism, which is what we call BDSM, which most people know as SM.
Yeah.
But that's actually the real term, and you can add and fetish.
Right.
So, but that's the big
You want to
one.
be all inclusive.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's like
If you kick somebody in the nuts, they want to be part of a group.
Hey, umbrella.
And then we can throw a whole bunch, because fetish gets the transgender thing, cross-dressing, and fist bucking, and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, Monday night.
Right, so, absolutely. So what happens is that they're actually come to you, you sit down, and you have a conversation first.
Right.
It's really quite civilized. It's like you're purchasing a product.
Right.
Seriously, so you're kind of purchasing a car, and I'm sort of the car, I guess. Well,
Right.
was the car.
Yeah, but
So
ordering like a specific. So
Yeah.
they go like, okay, so for 5 minutes I want to be spanked, then I want you to slap me in the face for 7.
No, they would give you
Or-
a kind of general context.
Okay.
I would like to have this, and this happen.
Right.
And so then it was up to you, as the professional that they're paying,
To be in
to
control.
be the person who uses your imagination to make
Right.
that all happen.
Right.
And you also have to be a mind reader as well, to be honest. You had to be able to really figure out what exactly they were saying. Because sometimes they go, I don't really want that. And you knew, oh, they really want that. They really wanted that.
It's like they would give you a brief.
Yep.
And you would say, what they're really saying is this.
Yeah.
And I guess, were you good at that? Did you sometimes get that wrong? Or were you generally, like, I know when you say no, this is actually what you want, and then they're like, no, I meant...
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I think overall, I got it pretty spot on.
Yeah. Cool.
I'd say I got it okay.
Okay.
Maybe there were times where I could not figure out what they wanted, period.
Right.
That happened a couple times. And
then you're just kicking the shit out of them. I don't know. You're not giving me anything.
I think everybody deals with that a little bit differently. I would do that. That
No,
wasn't me.
okay, so it
That
was,
just happened to me. I was a
Oh, that's
really
good.
nice, I was the nice mistress.
right.
I really was. I was the nice dominatrix who was like, oh, well, let's talk about it, you know?
Right.
What is it that you really want? Do you want me to put my fist up your ass? Okay, if that's not what you want, then maybe it's something else. Why don't you, we'll sit and we'll talk about it for a little while. Like, I always was very,
Trying to draw
well, yeah, right.
I
You're
want-
paying the money,
Right.
let's try this again.
and it's
So I
better,
would stop and.
yeah, to get it out of them, I guess, and then give them the experience they want
Right,
rather than
exactly.
guess.
I thought that was better
Yeah,
than just going, all right, fuck this. So, beat the shit out of them, don't care what they want, and throw them out the door.
right.
And there were people who I worked with that did that, but they were younger and cuter than me, so they got away with it.
Right.
I'm not kidding, seriously.
And were you, because I guess this could enter into territory where there's stuff that you're not comfortable with, or were you kind of like, well, you asked for it, so here you go?
Yes, there were times that there were things that I would not do.
It's like, no.
I mean, because we don't, well, at least where I worked,
Yeah,
and the time that I was working in, we did not have sex with the clients, period.
right,
Absolutely not. However, there were mistresses who would, and they would then charge them on the side And-
right,
an extra whatever they wanted.
right,
That was absolutely out of
Yeah.
parameters to me. Absolutely
Right.
not. It was about the game. And
Right.
That was it.
and so within the context of the game, so leaving sex aside, were there people who were like, really, like, I don't know, like actually break your nose or like their nose, like that kind of stuff, and you're like, no, I'm not gonna do that, or,
No, there was nobody who went into, the thing is that this is an experience that is quite psychological.
Right.
Okay, if we go back to your theme and we bring back in Dostoevsky,
yes,
right? His characters are always battling within themselves, huh? It's this inner turmoil. Am I this person who will commit this crime? How do I feel about how people who do that? This is how I see most people who come to pay to a studio. They're
right,
battling with this issue within them. They either accept that this is who they are,
right,
so, and most of those people were in the fetish category.
Okay, good.
Right,
So-
and that was my specialty as well.
okay,
I put people in rubber, and I would, blow them up in things. I mean, it was really something that you'd see in a movie. It was crazy, actually.
right,
And I would just, like walk around, tick, 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 tick in my outfit, and take care of them. And that was their experience. That was what it was about. So they were submissive to the rubber,
right,
but the other people often knew that there was something inside of them that they wanted to be disciplined for. I wouldn't say punished,
right,
but they wanted something that was beyond just the normal everyday, I go to work, I come home, I have a few beers, I watch TV, and go to sleep. There was something else for them. And that's where this conflict, how to figure out how to make that work, is where it became complicated. And they would come to a mistress to see if they could figure it out.
okay. So my question is, how much do you think it's related to, this is a richness of experience, this is something I'm not going to get anywhere else? And how much of it do you think is related to, I need a richness of experience within this, I need to be disciplined for something, or like I want to be not hurt, but I want to be challenged and chastised. Do you know what I mean? Like, is it just, because you say they want something out of the ordinary, and so how much of it is I just want something out of the ordinary, and how much of it is, but it needs to be in this category?
I think most people who would walk into a BDSM studio knew it wanted to be in that particular category.
Right.
Yeah.
But, and how, because you also talked about how you would articulate that. So when people come in, they're like, I don't know, spank me. Or they're like, well, I need you to, tickle me and blah, 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 do this and that, and then this needs to happen. So I guess the question is, did you see, when you talk about Dostoevsky, or do you see a difference in people's ability to articulate that,
Yes.
reflected on the inside, in terms of,
Yes,
Yeah.
you could see their trying to figure out, they had an idea. Okay, a good example is a guy came to me and said, I want to be pissed on.
Right.
And I said to him, I don't think so. I think that's a fantasy that you have. I think in reality, you wouldn't like it. So I refused to do it. I just said, I don't do that, and I'm not going to do that. And he came back again, and he begged me to piss on him. And I would not do that very often. In the 3 years that I worked there, I think I did it 3 times.
Right.
So I did. And I was right.
You're right.
It was a fantasy.
Yes.
He wanted to submit. He wanted to lie down on the ground. He wanted to have restraints. He wanted to have all the things that were associated with submitting. But he didn't want to go there. But
Wow.
he thought he did. And that is what, in general, we do. We push ourselves to limits.
Right.
This is just one aspect of where we can go to push ourselves to another limit. I've taken that now in my regular life and pulled it around and gone, okay, how can we make this more exciting, more normalized, more an integral part of ourselves, as opposed to there's that thing here and I'm outside,
Right.
that distance.
Yeah.
So.
And is that related, because we don't have that much time, but I want to hear a little bit, or I'd like these people to hear about the work you do now that's sort of related, and it sounds like it's related to this normalizing the
Right,
practice,
exactly.
yeah.
So I decided after leaving that work, because one day I just walked out and said I can't do this anymore. And I thought, okay, what am I going to do? And I love spanking. I will always be thankful to that one particular client who asked me to play the secretary. And he was the boss, and we turned it around, and I spanked him for a whole hour, and oh my God, did my hand hurt. And man, was his ass red. He walked home with bruises, not me. But I realized that I really enjoyed doing it, and it was erotic for both of us. And what's so different about the ass is that it's all filled with nerves, and they all go right down into the genitals. So when you spank someone, and this is how you spank someone, put your hands together like cupped, like this.
I think
Everybody
everybody should try.
Hands up,
Residential.
come on,
Big
hands
deal.
up, everybody. Hands up, and right, like this, cupped like this, and then you're gonna do the Queen's wave.
Exactly, yeah.
Queen's wave with the bent arm like this, right? So like this, and then you go like that. Not this is pansy. It's this. It's the whole arm, right? So you are this. That's it. Very good.
All right.
Very good.
Talent.
Very good.
Yeah.
This. Yeah, very good. Very good. So spank and we do the other arm. All right. So anyway, and then we can do both.
All right.
So I realized that this can be really exciting. So I'm going to teach people how to spank. So in a way, this is really on the other light spectrum of the whole thing. But when I do my spanking workshops, this is what I started doing, I have people come up to me and ask me all kinds of questions. You can ask me anything, and I will tell you about myself or anything that you'd want to know, and I'm not going to be ashamed, and neither should you.
Right.
So it gives like an open experience for everyone, and we all have fun together. And you're not just going whack on somebody.
Right.
I showed people how to build up this thing. It's
Right.
erotic and exciting.
And
Is there a certain demographic?
I love it.
No, yeah. Like you
I
don't
really
just
do.
start going, "Hello, honey, I'm home."
Yeah, right. No, but people do that. Go, hey, hello.
Yeah.
Whack. But
Yeah.
no,
No, you punch her in the face.
there
If you do that, you have a horrible relationship. No, what it was? Can you pigeonhole people that would either come to the spanking workshops or were clients of yours? Is it a particular demographic, or is it literally everybody?
It's everybody.
Right.
I thought it would be a particular demographic.
Just a
I really did.
couple.
I assume that. I started doing the workshops before 50 Shades of Grey phenomenon, and still, it was a general demographic.
Yeah.
I was really surprised. There is everybody, every spectrum. And then since 50 Shades of Grey, I get even a bigger spectrum. Yeah, and a broader spectrum, seriously.
So it brought
Yeah.
some good then.
And I'm really happy about that because
Yeah.
I'm teaching people that that is not reality. This is
Disagree.
the story is she's a virgin
Right.
who's never even had sex, let alone any introduction to BDSM, and then all of a sudden she has to do whatever he wants. No, it is consensual. This is agreed. This is fun.
And the question I have, because all these people,
No, not 50 Shades of Grey. I had to stop reading after the third book, honestly.
yeah. The question is, how would people sign up? Because I think people are intrigued and interested, and how would they get in touch and find out when the next spanking workshop is and how they register?
Oh, that's great. Thank you very much for promoting me. I have a website. It's deSaintMisbehaving.
Can you spell it?
See what you did there, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah? That's great.
So yeah, .com.
Misbehaving.
Misbehaving.
Yeah.
deSaintMisbehaving. So it's like I ain't misbehaving.
Right.
deSaintMisbehaving.
But there's no apostrophe at the
No,
end.
no
That's the
apostrophe.
point. Your web browser will not find
And
it.
I'm Michelle deSaint.
Misbehaving.
Misbehaving.
And it's just D-E and then sing?
Yeah.
And then misbehaving.
And then misbehaving.
Good. All right, guys. Give a big round of applause to Michelle DeSaint.